Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to the live transfer show. We're going through all the latest transfer news and rumours. I'm joined by Callum Brannan. We're going to get straight into it, but obviously I've got a lot of transfer news to bring you from today alone, really. And the one most recent, of course, is the departure of Bernard. Bernard has gone to the United Arab Emirates to join Sharjah, and that it's one of those. It's a bittersweet one. This, I think, isn't it, Callum? We think he was a decent player and he was quite well liked, but for the money he was on, I think we really need to get that off the wage bill, didn't we?
Yeah, 100%. It just wasn't a good time for him, was it? It's like I remember someone saying the other day, I can't remember him getting, a handful of Man of the Match awards. I can't even remember him getting a Man of the Match award, to be completely honest with you. He was a decent player, don't get me wrong, good on the ball. He was fun to watch. He made Everton a lot more entertaining to watch, but it didn't produce results. And I think on the wages you were on, if you can't produce results at, 130k a week with bonuses, then yeah, it has to go. And it's a good first step for the club, 130 plus K worth of wages gone just like that. It's a good start. And I think now, hopefully, we can start rolling the players out that need to go, and hopefully then we can actually make some big signings.
Definitely. And not so much a big sign. We'll get straight onto the one signing we have made, not the biggest for sure, but Demarai Gray was announced earlier today. Everton's new number 11. That's particularly raised a few eyebrows that he's wearing number 11, because it suggests to people that we're not going to get a first choice winger, but it's really, you can't really read too much into the shirt numbers these days, can you?
No, you can't, unless it's your 9, 7, 6, them. The top numbers where, if someone's your number 9, that's your striker. If someone's your 7, he's probably your star player. Your 10 is your attacking midfielder. 11, I just, it's one of those numbers where it doesn't just strike to me, oh no, Demarai Gray is going to start. And even if he does, you know what I mean? It's not the end of the world. I think a lot of people don't realise that Demarai Gray is a good player, man. And for 1.7 million, it's an absolute steal. And it could end up being steal of the window at this point, because even if I know he has to work on his end product a little bit, but in the end, he's a good player with a lot of pay. It's exactly what we were asking for. Good on the ball. And then we've got Townsend for stuff like the delivery and playing into Calvert-Lewin. So in the end, he will be a bench warmer. That's what he will be. And that's all he needs to be for us. And so it's nothing really to complain about. It's a good deal, really cheap, and then that's it.
My take on Demarai Gray, I think he's definitely brings so much needed pace, but is he lacking an end product, do you think? I think he really seems to struggle for assists, considering he's a winger.
Yeah, but he's only 25 and he's admitted that's something he's got to work on. So you know what? At least he's coming out and saying, yeah, I need to work on it. I need to improve. Because as a bench warmer, and that's all he is a bench warmer to come make an impact at the end of a game, I feel like someone like Rafa will be able to get it out of him a little bit. Because I don't think any of us should really come out expecting big numbers from Demarai Gray. But off the bench, 4 or 5 goals, similar in assists. It's a good output for a bench player, and that's all he is. And I'll keep saying that for the entire thing about Gray and Townsend. They're bench players. So there was no point in us going and spending big money to bring in people who are going to come off the bench, because at least now we're not going to be putting 2 goalkeepers on the bench for every game, and we'll actually be able to make substitutes.
Yeah. But speaking of substitutes, of course, Asmir Begovic was announced here. Cap 2000 was asking, what do we think about Begovic? Callum, you take on Begovic as number 2?
Yeah, championship team of the season last year. He's shown before his Chelsea stint that he's a good keeper. As a number 2, he's a good leader. I don't know if anyone else, I wasn't massively sure. I was like, eh. And then his wife on the horse on his first interview. It sounds like they're coming in and they really care about the atmosphere of the club. Begovic has come in his interview and said, I'll try to help out as much as I can with the younger players. So even taking someone like Virginia under his wing and being like, look, I've struggled before. This is how you get around it. He's a number 2. He's going to play 4 or 5 times a season maximum. He'll play a few early cup round games. As long as he doesn't have a really bad mistake in one of those games, we should be fine. He's a number 2. He doesn't have to be overly impressive. I understand we had Olsen, who is an international keeper, but that was just because we had Carlo Ancelotti and we were lucky. He looks like he's going to go start for the Liga and Champions now. So Begovic is a good number 2 and someone I think is a really good signing. Very smart, especially if on a free.
Definitely, I think. On the other note about Townsend, I mean, I was quite underwhelmed by that, and I still don't know if it's the right move, but he's clearly very pleased to be joining. I think that's something that I said towards the end of last season when we were underwhelming and we were playing some really heartless, gutless football. I was thinking, I want players to come in who will treat playing for Everton like an honour. And yeah, I think that looks as though like Townsend certainly looks as though he's like a kid on Christmas when he signed for us, which is, that's how I think it should be. But we haven't seen enough of it.
Yeah, because in the end, that's how our club was built, wasn't it? Passion and play. Look at it, right? Let's put it simple. I wasn't old enough when this happened, but I can go off experience and from what I've heard from older Evertonians, everyone thought Tim Cahill was a shit signing when we made it. Why are we signing players from Millwall? Why? In the end, he's arguably one of the best, if not the best player to play for our club in the Premier League era. So you've got to look at it like that. And there are risks. So in the end, yeah, but it's a free signing. So that's it. It comes off the bench. He'll play a few crosses. He will barely start. He'll probably struggle to start 10 games this season. And that's it. I think what it looks like is we are hoping to get a bigger name winger. We don't know about the whole Leon Bailey to Villa thing. I can imagine that's something we'll go more in detail on later. But in the end, I think these two were signed to be bench warmers or to be impact subs. And they're good impact subs, in my opinion.
So you presume that Townsend will be the backup right winger, Gray will be the backup left winger, now Bernard's left with presumably Richarlison being the starting left winger.
Yeah, I think that's what it'll be. I think Townsend said he can play either. He'll play wherever. Gray said it too. They'll play wherever Rafa wants them to play. So with Townsend as well, Townsend especially seemed like he was willing to take on any role to help the club. And in the end, he might not be the best player technically that we could have signed, but also that, that passion and willingness to play for the club is something that will help in the long run.
Definitely. We'll get on to the, of course, they're all the transfers that have occurred. We spoke about, obviously, Gray, Townsend, Begovic, all in the door, Bernard out. There's still probably a few players to go as well. That Fabian Delph today there's a rumours going around that he's really angry about like the whole the police situation and obviously there's a leak in the newspaper which shall not be named and and he's really upset about that, but he seems to be taking it out on the club rather than like the authorities or the said newspaper.
I'm just going to lift my microphone up to say this. Fabian Delph is a fucking fool. Fabian Delph is an idiot. And listen, Fabian Delph can see this. I don't care. I don't want to work with the man in the future. I don't care for the man. He's an idiot. And I don't think Delph understands that you're not allowed to release names until it is proven. The club aren't going to go, him, we all know who I'm talking about, he's doing it because then they've broken the law. And then that player can sue the club and win. It doesn't matter if he's committed the crime, he will still win because that's the law. If Fabian Delph wants to throw a strop and leave the club for it, good riddance. No one's going to miss you.
He'll do us a favour if he rips his own contract up, I'll tell you that much.
Exactly. I don't care if we pay a club £1 million to get rid of Fabian Delph, to be honest with you. I don't want that man anywhere near the club.
I mean, I think obviously it's not the situation Delph would have liked, like with all these revelations and whatnot, but is it not the police's fault for releasing the age and fact that he's married, this player?
Yeah, 100%. It is.
That's the police's decision to release that info.
Yeah, the papers, listen, the age didn't have to be revealed. All it had to be was a Premier League footballer has done this. Because then, obviously, I think the club did a good thing coming out as soon as they did and saying, listen, I understand they did it because it was on social media, but they came out, suspended the player. A lot of clubs would have just sat back and let it happen. Look at Sunderland during the whole Adam Johnson situation. Sunderland sat back, hands up, let's wait until something gets found out here. We came out straight away, suspended that player, who I will not name, until It's proven. So, but yeah, I think Delph just he's always been an idiot, hasn't he, Delph? It's just he's a diva. He thinks he's much better than he is, and I think that's the problem.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens on the Delph front. I mean, I think a large amount of the fan base wouldn't lose sleep if he left. But in terms of who might come in the midfield to replace Delph, there's a news that's just come out that from Fabrizio Romano of all people that people might not be very pleased about. I certainly wouldn't be. There's rumours about us going after Harry Winks for 25 million. So if we've got no money, we're not going to sign Leon Bailey for 30 million, but we'll happily pay 25 million for Harry Winks.
Is it 25 million depending on installments? So, for example, we pay 10 million and then say, if Winks does this, 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 and this, you can have an extra 15 million. That's not that bad. He's young, he's English, and I think he's a really good player. 25 million up front, it's ridiculous. It is stupid, but there's also ways to structure things. And I don't think we'll pay 25 million. I think a lot of people need to come out and just go, just because Fabrizio Romano says it's possible, it doesn't mean it's gospel. Romano gets other sources to tell him things. So what he'll have been told is right now, Spurs have asked for 25 million and Everton may be willing to pay it, which, to be honest, I don't think we are. A loan with an option to buy, maybe. Because don't get me wrong, if Harry Winks comes in, plays really well, then maybe I wouldn't mind paying it. Because it's English tax, isn't it? That's why it's 25 million. If he was Welsh, it'd cost us 10 million. But it's English tax. That's unfortunately how it works. I don't think it's an awful signing necessarily. But I don't know if he's going to... I don't think it's awful. I think Harry Winks is a decent player. And I think a lot of us need to get out of this head that we're not European contenders. We're a mid-table team.
We're a mid-table team, but we need grafters. And when I think of Harry Winks, I think of Crab. Morgan Schneidel and level Crab.
I don't know, though, because in the end, is it his fault Spurs won't give him a chance and he's wanted out for a long time? Don't get me wrong. People saying Winks is rubbish, we need better players. We're not big enough to get better players. This is the thing that a lot of us need to get out of our head. Don't get me wrong, preferably, part of me would prefer maybe if we go out and then we even giving someone from the academy a chance, because there's a lot of them who are there who come off the bench. Because in the end, this season, I'm going to say it now, it's a write-off. It is a write-off so far, what it looks like. We're getting rid of names to then hopefully either bring someone in right at the end of the window or in January or next season. It's a season where we need to get rid of players to bring players in. And I don't think we're going to get rid of every single player this window. I think we'll get rid of a few this window and then maybe get rid of the rest in January. But 25 million for Harry Winks, no. But bringing in Harry Winks maybe on a loan with an option to buy, I wouldn't really complain about.
Yeah, I beg to differ. I really do. Maybe a loan, but that's the only thing I would consider. Any sort of transfer fee is not feasible. Like, if we're struggling for money, as much as people say we are, or, FFP situation at least, why would we spend whatever money we do have on Harry Winks?
I hope we don't spend 25 million on Harry Winks. 10 to 15 million I could pay. I could look at and go, that's a good deal, actually. Because English tax and everything like that. But it is Everton, isn't it? And we'll have 25 million saved up. And because we've heard Villa want Bailey, we've gone, well, we can't get him anymore, Harry Winks. It just is an Everton thing, isn't it?
It's the thing. I'm getting concerned about Marcel Brands and what he's really doing at the club at the moment.
Is it Brands or is it Rafa who wants Winks, though? Because Winks seems like a Rafa player.
Maybe, I don't know. But no, I'm not necessarily about the whole, the situation we've been landed in this window is on Brands, to be honest. I mean, there's elements of Steve Walsh still lingering around, obviously, but a lot of the deadwood we've still got now, a lot of the Walsh players have gone. It's generally his deadwood now. Yeah,
but I think that's a hindsight thing, isn't it? Signing Andre Gomez wasn't bad at the time. Because we think about it, he was really good on that loan. And we all know he was. He was really good, and then he came in, got absolutely ruined by Aurier, and then Aurier pushed. That happened, and he's just never been the same since. Bernard. I think what the problem is we saw these players who looked good on the eye test for everyone. And we did. All those players we signed in that window specifically looked really good. Mina, I think Bernard was in the Mina Digne window, was he? Or was the one before or after?
They were all in the same. I think Gomez was on loan and he came permanent the year after, didn't he?
Yeah. So it's like, we don't know because someone's put rather Nunes than Winks. How do we know Nunes doesn't turn out like Andre Gomez? You know what I mean? It's this sort of thing where I think we've just gotten unlucky that these players we signed that did look good didn't work out. And it is typical Everton, isn't it? They join Everton, they go down Schitt's Creek and they just don't perform. But I don't think you can put it all on Brands because in the end, Brands signed Ben Godfrey. Don't get me wrong, Ancelotti was the main factor, but who negotiated with James to earn less than 100k or 100k a week when I guarantee James could have headed off to another country and got it close to, if not double that.
I thought James was our highest earner. I thought he was 140k.
I think it's bonuses as well.
Oh.
Like his base salary is not. I think his base salary, unless he's got a yearly wage rise. If I can get it up here for you, Everton wage structure, Everton wages for you. There you go. This might not be completely accurate, but Bernard was a high. It's saying here that James Rodriguez is weekly salary. His base weekly salary is 90 grand.
90 grand, not bad.
So as a base salary for someone of James's quality, I don't know he's injured, but it's good. And in the end, that is down to Brands who does the negotiating. So he's done a good job. And even looking at the players he wants to sign for us this summer, it's been good. It's been good around business. He's a good negotiator. Like, don't get me wrong. Not everyone can be as good as Leicester's talent scout or something like that. But that's how football works. Sometimes you make a few signings who look good and they don't end up working out. All we can do is move on, refresh, and hopefully do better.
But that in mind, if you talk about the likes of, like you say there, Leicester's talent scout, why don't we have a scout network of that ilk? You know, we've got the finances to put an infrastructure like that in place.
But it's finding the scouts, that's the problem. That's the big problem, obviously. Look at Brentford. Brentford all found their scouting team, and now look at how good it is. Brendan something. He's unreal. You know what I mean? But it's the same thing as club mightn't be scared. Look, didn't we take Leicester's talent scout? The old one who brought in like Kante and Mahrez and then did nothing for us. So in the end, it's difficult because, you know, Steve Walsh will be the one who gets all the praise, but it might have been a little scout in the background going to Steve Walsh. Here, go look at a recruitment analyst go scout this player. He looks really good. It's really complicated, and I'm not going to act like I know everything about it, because I don't. But in the end, the most we can do is hope. And as long as it isn't Harry Winks for 25 million, which is just obviously a bad deal, then you've got to just take the hit and hope. You know, I think the business so far has been good. We've been keeping the big amounts of money we hopefully do have under FFP, because I can imagine Bernard's like freed a fair bit to spend now. So I just hope it isn't. We've managed to free Bernard money and that somehow give us 20 million to spend. I don't know how it works with all these bonuses and signing stuff and stuff. I don't, because I think we gave him a massive signing on fee and stuff like that. Or we gave him some massive bonus because some big clubs were interested in Bernard. But one second, Dave, it doesn't matter if of course it matters that he's English. Do you think Harry Maguire would have sold for 80 million if he want English? You know what I mean?
Virgil van Dijk went for 70 million.
Yeah, but that's because Southampton don't take it from Liverpool anymore like they used to, and it's just Van Dijk went for 70 million because I think Liverpool saw the clear talent, outsmarted us, and then moved it. But Harry Maguire for 80 million. Harry Maguire didn't look better at Leicester than Van Dijk did at Southampton. He didn't. And that's just, a lot of people say, yeah, he did. Well, you didn't watch Southampton then. It's just a simple answer to the question. But there is an English tax. It exists because you've got to have homegrown players in your squad or English players who have trained and brought up in England. So they naturally cost a bit more money. I'm trying to think. Andy Carroll is one. That I can think of. Andy Carroll, Harry Maguire, and players like that.
There's plenty of them.
If they weren't English, they'd go for half the price. And it's just as simple as that, really. But that's why I think I do like. I miss the idea of us going for championship. I kind of miss it because you know what I mean. We always seemed to find these gems in the championship, and I think we should. If we're signing players off the bench, maybe go back to that model because I don't know if it's because we don't have that scouting team anymore. We don't have that group of guys who just know the championship anymore. But I don't want us to be paying because, in my opinion, Winks will probably come off the bench because I don't know because maybe or Gabamin had come off the bench, but Decore and Allen are locked in to start. So and then Davies, I think we're all right in central midfield. Maybe to sign a backup? I don't know. I think maybe we should wait a little bit for midfield. Maybe play 1 or 2 games in the league first before we start looking at midfielders to sign, especially Harry Winks. Like Irwin's just put, we should have got Elise. I don't think we would have got Elise. I don't think we would have because if I was a young French player and Patrick Vieira said, "Do you want to come play for me?" You know, and he'll get a lot more touches at Palace. He'll be given a lot more opportunity. A young player like him, and because he's young French and he's already got all this hype, he'll have. It doesn't matter where he is playing in London. He'll always have that more hype than he would if he played for us. Because what would he be? He wouldn't start because he's a 10. He'd be behind James. If he wanted to play on the left, he'd be behind Finger. He would have 100% picked Palace over us because he's going to start. And look, to be fair, if Palace keep Zaha, look at that Palace attack if they sign a decent striker, or even keep playing Zaha at striker. It's a good attack, and I think he likes that idea. So I don't think we would have got Elise anywhere, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think for me, it's what I'm basically getting at is why don't we go to the Championship and sign a backup from there? Because I always say this, and I was saying it about Townsend earlier on in the show. Players who sign from the Championship and come to Everton treat playing for Everton like an honour.
Yeah, they do.
Players
exactly.
like Harry Winks who come from Spurs are treating it as at best a sideways move.
I'm just trying to think of players we could have signed. Like from the Championship. Like obviously there's a fair few. It was why I was so big on maybe bringing in someone like Ismail Assar or one of the wingers we could have signed. But obviously Watford came up. But yeah, it's kind of because if you sign from the Championship, I think you've got to go quite young. And I think Elise was obviously the best option. There's that young lad for QPR, but he hasn't played a lot, who looks really good, but at the same time, he costs like 4 million. Is it Chair or something like that? I'm not completely... Pardon?
There's Cherry, is it?
Yeah, QPR, I think he's Moroccan attacking midfielder. It's Chair or something like that. But yeah, I think you've got... I think you've got to have a really smart policy to sign the right players from the Championship, like we did with with Timmy, with John Stones and stuff like that. And I wouldn't mind us setting up a network in there, to just take out. You look at what Leicester did with James Justin. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, we don't need a left back, even though Justin's a natural right back. But look at how intelligent Leicester can be with their business. And I'm not saying pip Leicester's model, because if we go to all the places Leicester go, they're going to have better scouts than us. But they clearly understand going to a market, or Brentford shop in Ligue 2. Like Brentford go to France and go, we'll have this second league of France all to ourselves for the English teams. So it's just finding that niche area. Scandinavia as well as another one. They're quite big in, and they've managed to bring. I mean, look at half their squad is Danish and Finnish and Swedish. So the Netherlands is not a bad shout from Brands, in my opinion. Set up a strong scouting base in the Netherlands, and there'll be a few other clubs that do that. But in the end, Marcel Brands also has a lot of pull with PSV and a good relationship with them, to the point where PSV would be much more likely to sell to us than they would other teams because of the relationship with Brands. It's kind of like Arsenal and Ajax. Mark Overmars is that link between the two clubs. So they've got a good relationship. Spurs and Ajax have got a really good relationship because of how Jan Vertonghen and Christian Eriksen turned out. So it's finding the right place, isn't it? So I just think it's difficult, but I think it's something we can do, and it will be something we have to set up for a few years before we start to see real results like Leicester did.
Indeed. Loads of names to get through, actually, in this show. Eugene McGee says, how many Newcastle players do you think Rafa will sign? Saint Maximin?
Too much.
Yeah, I don't. We've just brought in Damari Gray in the same position, and we've got Richarlison. I mean, Sam Maximin's a great player, but I don't think he's what we need at the moment. If he's what we need, we'd need Richarlison to leave, basically.
I think that's what it is, isn't it? Because Perez has just come out and said to Ancelotti, if you want to buy, you've got to sell. And if he is this desperate to get the 80 million for Richarlison, then maybe 40 for St. Maximin would be a bit better. I don't know. It's only 10 million less, but it also just seems like a much more promising thing. When you think keep Richie every day, but I don't know if Real Madrid offer for him and he wants to leave, I'm not going to blame Richie for that. You know what I mean? It's Real Madrid. He's Brazilian. Look at he probably grew up idolizing so many players from that club.
They had
Brazilian.
They had Marcelo and Roberto Carlos.
R9 Ronaldo for a little bit,
Yeah.
It's just a club drenched in history. So in the end, I wouldn't blame him at all, So if we had to sign a right winger, I don't know, because we'd have to get someone on the cheap. Maybe using those Eredivisie links, we might be able to bring in someone on a decently cheap thing. But I think what it would have to be, it'd be something where it's like 20 million up front and the rest in installments, like Arsenal did with Pepe. It'd be something like that if we signed a big money winger.
Yeah, obviously there's the links with like Leon Bailey. We'll get onto that.
He's going to Villa.
Is it gone? Has he already gone?
Well, no, but apparently he prefers Villa over us. But that also makes me think surely they're getting rid of Grealish. So,
or maybe it's just because Villa are a better run club than we are. Can we just that we're an absolute fucking shambles?
Yeah, we are. But from Villa's side, Buendia, Bailey, who both kind of play a similar role. Not a role to Grealish, but Bailey's a right winger. Buendia's initially a right winger. So unless they're going to move Grealish in the middle, Bailey on the left, Buendia on the right, Watkins up front, which, let's face it, we're done if that happens. We are done because Villa have already got a good midfield, good centre-backs. Villa are going to take that best of the rest spot that we want so much. Yeah,
that's if Leicester have gone one better than that already. We're in serious trouble if we don't get a fucking grip this summer.
I think it's a transitional. I do. I think it's getting rid of people.
Every season, mate. Every season has been a transitional. And every season we just either stall or go backwards.
Yeah. Oh, and you're saying Bailey hasn't gone yet. Chill. If you're Leon Bailey, why would you join us over Aston Villa? You wouldn't. You wouldn't. I wouldn't, and I'm an Everton fan. If I was as good as Leon Bailey and I went, come play with Grealish, Buendia, Watkins, McGinn, or you can play with Fabian Delph. You can be Bernard's replacement. You know what I mean? It's like, I just don't. But this as well. I don't know how you do the magic little pressy thing, but if you press on Eugene's for me, the latest one, no.
There's rumours about this. Whammy Spoon says Buendia will play Cam and we'll sign Ross Barkley, who Villa didn't want.
Don't get me wrong. If he could capture back that Everton magic that he had for a little bit before the last season with us, then yeah. But is he? No, he's not gonna capture that. He's not. And I do get it's this idea that he knows the club. Rafa's going to work him like a dog, and he's barely going to be able to play for 45 minutes because he's not used to working hard. Wormy's put here, get a Pereira from West Brom. Yeah,
that's not a bad shout.
He can't cost that much. There's no way he's going to do another season in the Championship if we come in. There's no way. There's another one Jabs has put about Bailey. Villa haven't put in a bid for Bailey. That was from the club today. So what, Villa or Leverkusen have come out and said they have not bid for Bailey yet? Is that from I don't know. I don't keep an eye on Villa, but if that's true, let's pray, because it also could be agent talk to get him higher wages. It could be, but we don't know yet. And to be honest, the idea of Villa being in for Bailey terrifies me, because don't get me wrong, there's other wingers, but Leon Bailey just looks so good, and to bring it a quality player like that in for us.
We've been rumoured to be after him since last summer, so
2 years scouting him, haven't we?
Well, that's the thing. If you're going to do that, go and get him.
And now that he's had his most productive season, we were thinking now's the time to pounce, and now's the time we've got no money. Don't get me wrong, we might get rid of all the deadwood this summer, and then it might even be a situation where January is the transfer window that ends up being the better one for us. Because in the end, the transfer team have also got to realise, are we actually going to get rid of them all this summer? It might even be a thing where we just go, here, loan out Iwobi if you pay most of his wages. Very possible. I don't know. But in the end, we don't know. And I'm not getting my hopes up, because Everton will crush my hopes once again, like they always do.
Yeah, but I think Erwin Koeman would rather die than have Barkley back at Everton. I think that's generally the consensus amongst the fan base.
Like, don't get me wrong. If you can get Everton Ross Barkley back, I'd take him back. Yeah. If we could get Everton Ross Barkley back, and not the last season, but before that, then yeah, I'd take him back. But he's not that player anymore. He's not that player. And, a lot of people are like, we wouldn't take Barkley because of what he did to the club. We've signed Rafa Benitez, for God's sakes. You know what I mean? Can it get much worse than that for us if you want to go at the links to the clubs? Not really, unless we signed, Jordan Henderson or something like that, which isn't obviously going to happen. So I don't know. I don't want Barkley. And someone just put, can we just focus on getting Dumfries than anyone else? I hope so, but that's if one of the Milan clubs don't get him first. I think it's still Inter, isn't it? It's not AC.
Well, Inter apparently going after Bellerin, aren't they?
Yeah, but is that still the case?
I think so. I think they're basically trying to. I think Bellerin might be a loan deal or something they're after, but I think they're in even more financial trouble than we are. I think.
Yeah, I just hope what it is if we do make a big money signing, it's like V-Realm put here, we're taking our time with it. I don't mind if we take our time. I don't mind if we have to wait until towards the end of the window to make this signing, because in the end, if they say we scouted these players for 3 months, this was our best option, because I think we can sign Dumfries and still make another big signing if we're smart with what we did. And let's face it, this window's the Morgan Schneiderlin. It's going to be a load of Morgan Schneiderlins to Nice, isn't it? Where we sell them for pennies and then we just recover the wages. But I wouldn't get your hopes up. I think Dumfries will happen. I have faith in Dumfries happening. But with a winger, I just don't know. I think it might be January.
McNeil's been thrown around. No. I think that's a Premier League tax again, and that's going to cost a lot of money if we end up doing it.
They said for 25 million. I don't mind that. He's a good player. He's really young. For 25 million, unlike Harry Winks, at least there's the promise there, and he's looked like a 25 million player multiple times. Like, people only mentioned the goal against us. He ripped us apart. For the entire time he played, he ripped us apart. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't like the idea of signing players because they played well against you either. But at the same time, McNeil's a good player. I just don't think, like, maybe now it'd work a bit more now that we've got some pace in. But yeah, you know what, though? Inky's just put it there. Why did we sell Lookman? Why did we sell Lookman, man?
He didn't really do anything here, though.
Yeah, but look at him now. He's literally the main reason Fulham almost survived in the attack. So in the end, it's annoying, isn't it?
He's literally, for me, Lookman's literally very similar to Damari Gray in terms of he's a pacey winger with skill, but he lacks metrics.
He's got more end product and he's younger. Like, don't get me wrong, his end product's not out of this world, but at least he can finish a chance when he's given it. And I know he had that penalty, but in the end, everyone has a really stupid mistake in their career. Every player that ever exists has done something ridiculously stupid, and you think, wait, why have you done that for then? But in the end, it's a lot of people are saying, we're signing wingers with no end product. It's hard to sign a winger with loads of end product. There's not many of them that have real end product that are available right now to sign for Everton. We're not a top 6 club. We're not as attractive as a lot of these other clubs who are interested. And, Jabs has put it here. We're not rumoured to pay 25 million for Winks. Spurs want 25 million, which we won't pay. We'll refuse. Because I know we're a stupid club, but we're not that stupid. We're not. I won't pay, you know what I mean? I just don't know. You know what, James? I just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, loads of rumours coming out today. Inky Squillier Vlasic could be about to move. We could get up to 10 million maybe from a sell-on fee from CSKA.
Yeah, we slapped a big percentage on him, didn't we? It's 30%.
He's supposed to be going to AC Milan. I think
it's 30% above. I know it's above that. I remember when we sold him, they said he's another player I wish we'd have kept, but I don't think we saw the player he'd have become either. I think that's the problem. We never saw that at Everton. It's a big problem with Everton, isn't it? They all, when we sell them, we go, it's not the end of the world, and then they go become world beaters somewhere else, and it's just what it's like to be this club. And in the end, hopefully Vlasic goes for huge money and Moscow don't take it sitting down, and we do get a massive fee, because if we get 10 million from Vlasic, then he was worth selling that time ago, because that.
Well, we got like about 12 million when we sold him.
Yeah, and we didn't. What did we even pay more than 2 million for him?
About 3 million, 4 million.
We signed him. I remember because I think I was there. We played Highjuk Split. He scored that. He was the one who scored the halfway line goal, wasn't he?
No, it wasn't him, but he had a blinder against us.
Yeah, because I know Sigurdsson did it the game after against them. But it's stupid, isn't it? And I just don't know what's going to happen. And have we got something in Lookman's contract as well?
Possibly. I'm not too sure.
I can't imagine we'd have sold him to Leipzig for, it was 15, wasn't it?
It was about 15, 16, I think.
Without any sell-on clause. So don't get me wrong, because I think a few English clubs might look at Lookman after how he performed for Fulham. So Definitely. We might have a bit of money coming in, but we don't know, do we? And we've just got to hope that we get rid of him, and then... Because I think maybe now we'll start to see a few more players link that Bernard's gone.
Yeah, I think
that's a highest earner off the books. It's 130 grand base salary off the books. So it all just depends, really. Like, I'm not massively confident we'll bring in Leon Bailey, to be honest with you, but Dumfries, Bailey, Gray, Townsend, it's a good window. It is a good window. And then hopefully maybe a better midfielder or a good rotational option. Because even Davies might start next season. We don't know what's going to happen.
I mean, to be honest, Davies is a good grafter. I think I want a midfield of grafters. I think that's all I want.
Alan, Decore, and Davies, it's pure graft, all three of them. Even Gabamin.
Gabamin, if he gets his act together, we never know what we might get out of him. But I think maybe one more after those four. Just grafters and get the crabs out. Delph. Another one, Andre Gomez.
It's just not been the same, has he? He's not been the same.
But he's been linked as well with a move away. Back
Benfica, isn't it?
Benfica, yeah.
But how much is that going to be for? It won't be for more than 5 million.
It won't be a lot of money, but again, it's a big wage, that, I reckon.
I've still got the wages up here. Andre Gomez on 112 grand a week.
Yeah, so there you go. That's another tidy salary off the books, that.
Yeah, but I think with our midfield, what we could do is you could have Decore as the box-to-box, give Decore a license to go forward a little bit more, and then have Davies and Alan as the ones who sit back and screen the defence. It's not a bad idea at all, really. I think
Andre Gomez has no place in a Benitez midfield, in my eyes.
He don't work hard enough. He just doesn't.
Exactly.
Don't get me wrong, he's very talented. He's very talented, but he doesn't have the work ethic, and he also, his legs are done in. You can just tell ever since that injury, he doesn't move the same. Like, don't get me wrong, he never moved much. But it's just even now, I think he just tries to make the extravagant pass to get himself back in the starting lineup. It's like there was a spell of 3 or 4 games where he looked like the same player that we had on loan. But then it just crumbled again. So we can't have that. We need some consistency. Like, we want a ball. I think Collis, we want a right back as well. Ball carrying midfielder.
I think Denzel Dumfries, for me, or a right back of that ilk, needs to be the priority. It needs to be a right back who can get up and down the pitch. I think Dumfries would probably be the ideal one, but someone of that ilk would work.
Like, to be fair, if we started Damari Gray and had Dumfries, I wouldn't mind. Or even Townsend, because in the end, if Dumfries is the one who flies forward and gets the ball to Townsend, and all Townsend has to do is cross, which he is very good at. He's very good at. He had the best crossing accuracy in the league outside of, from just crosses without set pieces and that. So clearly he can cross a ball, but in the end, he's also lost a lot of his pace that made him good at Newcastle. So it's iffy, but at the same time, we've got to hope we hit the right players, and in the end, it's Everton. So one of them will manage to flop.
Yeah. Well, I think if we can get the majority of the current squad, like if we can get a lot of the crabs out, I think if we can get Gomez out to Benfica, even if it is only a 5 million fee, that's another big wage gone.
Or even just a loan and they pay his salary.
Even that for starters.
Because here's the thing: is go a good season in Portugal. So if we give him a loan, say here, pay us 10 million if he has a good season. Next season, when you've recouped some money, you'll have got European football because you're Benfica, and you'll have all your fans back. Give us 10 million, pay his salary this year. We'll see what you do. There you go. And then obviously there's if Moise Kean leaves, but it's not happening, is it? He's not leaving. They're not going to pay.
I think he will. I think they're just trying to drag it out, but I think he'll probably go towards the end of the window. I reckon the season will have already started when he does.
Yeah, Will here has put thoughts on Jeremy Boga. I'd love that signing.
Yeah, not bad.
On my video for the Blue Boys Network, where I mentioned one player every club should sign, I put him for Villa, Boga for Villa, and Bailey for us. So swap those around. I wouldn't mind. Bailey's a fantastic dribble. Boga's, I think if I remember from my video, he's in the top 1% for dribbles and like carries in Europe out of all wingers. So, you know what I mean? He can dribble the ball and he's quick. So that we literally look at that and go, oh, perfect. Because don't get me wrong, I don't think he scored 11 goals, not this season, the season before. So he's got more in product than whatever we've got. So yeah, do you know if they've give a price that they'd sell him for? Because I said it'd be about 20 million, Will. So I think we can afford that, but at the same time, they're saying 30 and they'll accept that for Bailey. I'd rather pay 30 for Bailey than 20 for Boga.
It all depends, like, what kind of money we've got, basically. But that's a case of if we can, even if we just fire sell these players, don't all have to be a big fee. Just clear the wage.
I don't care about
wage bill. Clear the wage bill.
Oh, that's a bargain. Yeah, I'd take that. 15 million for Jeremy Boga. I'd take every day of the week. He's a fantastic player. If anyone watching this doesn't know Boga, I know saying watch his highlights is a bit of a stupid thing, but if you want to see how good of a dribbler he is, that's the perfect place to watch because that's what they show. Fantastic dribbler, really talented, and for 15 million, I think I don't know if he's English. I know he played for Chelsea, and I think he represents Ivory Coast.
Like Ivorian, or I think
I'm pretty sure he lived in England for quite a while, so he'll at least know the style of football. Now we're chasing Lingard. I don't know, Lingard on loan. He's a grafter. He'll work hard.
I'd have only took Lingard if we didn't just get Damari Gray.
I don't know. I'd take Lingard and keep starting and bench Gray. He's clearly got in product. What was it? 11 goals and 4 assists in half a season. Like I know he will not replicate that for us, but at least there's signs of end product. And look at how much better he made West Ham. If we don't pay the stupid 30 million that United want, then yeah, but I'd rather take him on loan while we sort our finances out so we can sign a bigger winger the season after. Yeah,
well, we'll have to wait and see what happens with that in terms of what we can get next summer, though. I think we need to strike right while the iron's hot and get someone in who can do the job this season. Even if that, like I say, means getting players out the door ASAP, maybe even accepting a slightly smaller fee, or like I say,
there's nothing wrong with that, especially during the times we're in now, where we will get a lot of revenue in from fans, and then FFP won't be as bad because the numbers are lowered due to the pandemic. So I think we'll have. I don't know. I think a European finish would be really nice. Even in that Conference League, 7th would be nice because then at least we get a little bit of boost with that as well, which will give us more money to spend. But I just don't know. I have faith. Like, don't get me wrong. I think I do have faith in Rafa, and I've said this before that I'll back him, and I have some faith in him because of what he said from the training stuff I've watched. He's working them like dogs, and so it's just about bringing the right price. We've got another one from Inky here, James. I've answered all these, so do you want to answer this one now?
Tuchel slapped a 25.6 million tag for Zuma. Is he worth it? Sounds like a better bald head than Delph, but no. I think Zuma is worth it. It's not that he isn't worth it. It's the fact that and we don't it's our strongest position at present.
Do you think we could get him on loan again?
Pressing issues.
Do you think we could get him on loan again and do what AC Milan did with Tomori? Or do you think Chelsea are going to be wary of that now?
They might be wary of that, and the thing is, we've been there before. Like, Chelsea have stabbed us in the back with regards to these things in the past. I think we should be very careful with Chelsea.
We didn't have an option to buy on Zuma last time, though, did we? That's the problem. I think if we did bring him on loan, we need to do it. You know who I would like from Chelsea, though? And I know it's stupid and it's out there. I'd love Callum Hudson-Odoi on loan. He's just... look, like, don't get me wrong. It might be another one where they say he doesn't have end product. He's never really been given the chance to prove it, has he? And he gets played at right wing back. So if Bayern Munich are interested in you, then clearly, and look at the signings they make. They're a smart club. They're arguably the best run club in the world. So you know what I mean? If they're saying he's good enough to come in for us, then yeah, but I don't think we could. I think they might loan Hudson-Odoi out, but I could see like a Champions League team like Sevilla maybe getting him. But I think there's another one here that the channel has just, I don't know who runs the channel, but has just put in the comments from the Toffee Blues.
Jenny, is there any actual decent players we've been linked with and you go brilliant signing? Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, like we've mentioned Leon Bailey. I think if we did that, I'd definitely say it about that.
Leon Bailey would be one of the better signings for 30 million that we've made in a few years. Because if we weren't in this environment we were in with COVID, it'd cost double that. I can guarantee you it'd cost double that. 50, 60 million it'd be costing. But it's I don't think it's going to happen. And I just, you know, when your first three signings of a window are Townsend, Gray, and Begovic, and I understand the point that maybe, like, for example, if we signed Dumfries, Bailey first and then signed them three players, we'd be saying how good he would have been, how good a window it would have been. So maybe if we're doing it the opposite way around this time, but, you know, we don't know until we find out. HITC believes that we are considering a move for Salem. No, we're not.
HITC talk a lot of crap.
The YouTube channel's pretty good, but the website's awful.
No, the website's just wham. Absolute wham.
And I think they'd probably rather pay me 150k a week than Rondon. That's literally just because of the relationship they had at Newcastle. I heard we've been rumoured to bring him in, but he will be on loan, isn't he? He won't even be on 50k. Everton have caught a combined 16.9 million a year in wages from Balassi. Well, I mean, that's not bad.
To start, that's what I mean.
And then add Bernard onto that as well, which I think it shows me.
No, Bernard, he's mentioned Bernard there already.
6 million. Oh, has he? So
yeah, Bernard's on that list. So
Bernard's 6 million of that.
Mm-hmm.
So if we get rid of Gomez, that's another 5.8 million. He who shall not be named, another 5.2 million. Delph, another 4 million. You know, players like that. It's a lot of money we can get rid of him. Do you want me to put the link in? Benitez used to work with him. Can you put links in?
If you want, yeah. You can show us. I'll try, Inky, if you want to put that link onto HICC. But
there we go. Delph, Gomez, Sigurdsson, John Joe Kenny, another set. We'd free 33 million in wages. The wages funding on Bailey. Like, I don't know how much we were paying Walcott. Don't get me wrong, I do like Theo Walcott as a footballer.
I mean, Walcott.
Do you know what? Personally, I wouldn't have even mind if we kept him off the bench, because it is literally what Townsend is, and it's in it. So, but it's just he had too much money. Yeah, here we go. It's just spend. Tick two fingers up at the FA and the financial club. This wouldn't be. It won't. But we're not a big club. And in the end, people go, big clubs get more lenience. They don't. Big clubs make more money. Big clubs make much more money. Man City can go out and spend 200 million a year because they bring 200 million in shirt sales, player sales, stadium tickets, Champions League, FA Cup wins.
But how do you think they get there in the first place?
Yeah, obviously, a few years ago, the way Man City got to where they are now is completely dodgy, and they didn't get punished for it because they paid them off. They paid the people off. We know that. But in the end, we can't we can't spend money like other clubs. If we get Europe, and when we get to Bramley-Moore Dock, then maybe we'll start to get some lenience because they'll go, all right, these boys are starting to get big. And it is. It's like Villa. Villa could spend 600 million and they'll get away with it because the guy is involved in it. The guy who owns the club's involved in financial fair play, I'm pretty sure. Which, is a little bit dodgy, but
What?
I don't know if I'm right, but I saw that the guy who owns Villa, Aston Villa owner.
Tony's here, I think it is.
Right, let's put both of these names in. Nassif, Soros, FFP. Yeah, here we go. Like, there's one of them's involved in FFP or something, and it's like, it depends who your club knows, doesn't it? And it's stupid, and I hate it, but football's not fair, and it'll never be fair. It's always leaning towards the big clubs. So if we want to get to that level where we can spend money, we've got to win something. That's it. And it's just, unfortunately, how football works. It's the same in Spain. It's the same in... Like, people say here, we've got a much better deal than clubs our size in Spain. Like
a Betis or a sort of Athletic Bilbao?
I'd say we're like a Valencia, club with good history. Ironic that Benitez is manager. There's a good history, but have fallen
away badly, and also... like
falling away, struggling with money.
Spent too much to try and get back up as well.
That we're like them, and it's based off your finish, 25%. It's a T4 football video, which is the best league in the world. If to make more sense, watch that. They explain it much better than I do. Of course they do, but it's like 25% based off your league finish. So you know what I mean? And I think we've got something similar where you get rewarded based on where you finish. So finishing what 11th, 12th. 10th, it doesn't reward you. We need top 7 at least, 7th. Surely we can finish 7th. Even if we have to, do you know what? If we play boring and drag 1-0s all year, and at least we finish 7th, then do you know what? Part of me wouldn't mind, because then at least I can go, right, we can move forward from here. But are Everton going to do that? No, we're going to finish 10th. I know we're going to finish 10th.
We're going to finish 14th.
I think we'll finish 10th. I think we'll do what we did this season. We'll have a really good run at one point. We'll beat loads of teams, and that will solely decide our finish. Delph linked with Leeds, Villa. He's not going to Villa. No chance. Those fans hate that man.
No,
I know Villa fans. They hate that man. Watford, Brentford, Derby, Millwall. Hammers' personal mirror. You know what?
Inky's one of my favourite lads on this chat. Benitez wants Gomez out of the club, apparently.
Yeah, I can imagine that makes perfect sense. So if Owen thinks Everton will get 8th and 9th, we won't. We won't finish above Leeds, Villa, West Ham. I think will finish above us again. Arsenal, Spurs. I think we finish in 10th. Maybe 9th. But I'm saying 9th if we're lucky. But that's right now. That's without any other.
I'm saying 14th because we run like an absolute shambles at the moment, and the fact that we were able to bring in some expensive signings were probably keeping us out of that danger zone. Yeah, to be honest,
we'll have to see, won't we? Let's just hope, because I think we'll see an improvement from Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison, and James, and I feel like those three will just drag us. I honestly think those 3 players are going to put us on our back. Like, obviously, it'll be mainly Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison, because James' calves will snap if we put too much pressure on him.
James is expected to go, and I think Benitez probably wouldn't mind if he did, because even though he's an excellent player, but
who else who's going to create like him? No one. And we haven't got enough dribblers to do it. Like, don't get me wrong, Richie can progress the ball, but do you really think Damari Gray is going to drag us this much? I like Damari Gray. Like I said, I think he's a good sign. I think he's a good player. I'm excited to see him. But I think we need someone at least in a James mould. And it's not going to be Anthony Gordon, is it? He's not going to play Gordon. I like Gordon, and I think we should keep him on the bench. But I just think maybe just keep James this season. Give him a chance, Rafa. If you don't impress you, get rid of him. Or let him go. But I don't even think he's AC Milan's preferred choice anymore. It's Coutinho, Vlasic, and Isco, isn't it?
Isco. I'm not a mad fan of Isco nowadays. Isco 5 years ago was incredible, but
I think he's a good player, but too much money. And he's not better than James, so it's just
no. But yeah, with that in mind, I think it's we've got to focus on getting the Deadwood out, the Crabs. Not necessarily, if the players who are limited players but still put a shift in, I can live with that. It's the ones who clearly don't work hard enough. I think Andre Gomez, as good as a player he is technically, I think he falls into that category.
You know what? I feel bad for him. I just think he can't hard enough. I think his body won't let him. I'm being serious. I think his leg is ruined. I think he can't do it. I think he needs to go to Spain or Portugal where he can just sit in a midfield and he doesn't have to do too much running and stuff like that. And there's a lot of players we need to get rid of. If we do get rid of Moise Kean, then, it's very ifs. Like Owen's put one here that I wouldn't mind answering as well. The one right underneath that as well. I think Sims goes back to Blackpool again for a year. I think that's what happens.
At a higher level, it makes perfect sense because they've gone
Blackpool got promoted. He was a massive help coming in on loan to get them promoted when he played. I think he goes back to Blackpool, does a season in the Championship, and then we decide what we do with him. Maybe he'll become like our backup striker, which I wouldn't mind at all. The guy, but then I think it's quite difficult with Everton and backup strikers because, like I said, I was at the game against Bradford Park Avenue yesterday. Dobbin looks really good. Cannon looks really good. I know it's against the Vanarama North side, but they just look like they've got that natural instinct that we said about Sims, and Sims has gone out and proven that he has it. So I just don't know. I think we've got a few players. Blackpool have signed a lot of strikers, to be fair. There's still a lot of clubs we could send him to. There'll be clubs in the Championship that need a striker. Look at Sims and go, he did quite well for 6 months and being a rotational player as well. Just bringing him in and give him a chance. Or even a League One club that might go, right, you're going to be our starting striker for 46 games. But yeah, he needs another loan, in my opinion. Definitely another loan.
Yeah, I think I'd like him to go back to Blackpool because he made some good progress there, and his natural progression would be to continue the upward trajectory that his career is going, as at the same time as Blackpool are sort of on the up. But it needs to be Championship. I think League One, he's got to start moving up the leagues now.
What? Who Hull got up front? You seem to know all this stuff. Who've Hull got? Hull have just come up, haven't they? Yeah, I think Peterborough have got someone really good. They've got that young. Is Ricky J Jones or whatever it is that the young one? And then they've got the other lad who I'm pretty sure might have top scored in the league. John Jules is at Arsenal. They've got 2 strikers. One's really, really young and has loads of potential, and one's a bit older. But
who's this? Hull or Peterborough?
What was that?
Who's that? Hull or Peterborough?
Peterborough have got decent strikers. They won't need one. Who've Hull got? It's Will. No, it's not Will Keane. It's Todd Kane.
No, it's Josh McGuinness up top. There's a Keane Luke Potter. Is that who you mean?
It might be, but yeah, I'm pretty sure Hull don't have a striker.
McGuinness is the old head up top for them.
Yeah, I think Hull maybe. Go speak to Hull, see if they want him.
Yeah, I think Hull would work all right, yeah. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see. We need to start using the academy better. And like you say, if they've got the likes of this Dobbin who does look pretty decent.
Oh, trust me. I know it, like I said, Vanarama North, but oh my God, James. Him and Cannon looked ridiculous.
Yeah, I think Cannon's good as well.
Like Cannon, there's one where he squares it across the little D and he's just on that line and he just hits it first time and it's perfect into the bottom corner. Like, I don't care if he was playing against Real Madrid. That goal would have went in. It was perfectly struck. This is Cenk Tosun. I hope you're joking.
He will be, don't worry.
I pray you are. Like, he might not be a bad backup striker, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he's on big wages as well. Tosun, TOS. He not on this list?
Well,
60 grand a week. I'm not paying a backup striker 60 grand a week.
No, not at all.
30 million for him, man.
But yeah, we've gone through most of the squad and what we'd like to see go. But I think, like you said, I think a lot of this summer was sort of built around selling Moise Kean, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that's what we wanted. But now, well, I mean, listen, Juventus are desperate. And maybe we could, claw Juventus out of a player. I saw one that said Juventus are willing to swap Chiesa, but get in the bin, man. The guy's 10th ranked. He's 10th ranked for
He's in the world at the moment.
He's 10th ranked for the Ballon d'Or, and some idiot tried to say that bloody Juventus were willing to make that swap. Even if they are, do you think Chiesa is?
Oh my God. Why would Chiesa come to this shit show?
Listen, unless we're offering Chiesa 200 grand a week, an 8-bedroom house, and we're offering his son a permanent contract at the club when he's born, then, you know what I mean? I've got more chance of winning the lottery every day in a row for the past 2 weeks. For the next 2 weeks, sorry, it's not happening. I think Juventus have probably got a few decent players that we could bring in, but not any that, maybe. I think they've got a few young lads that are all right, but at the same time, we ain't got Ancelotti anymore, so we can't link ourselves with any of those bigger players anymore.
I mean, if that's the one thing I love about not having Ancelotti anymore, it's not getting linked with literally anyone who plays in Serie A.
Yeah, I mean, it'll just be everyone in from Newcastle squad now. I guarantee you now we get linked with Isaac Hayden at one point in the summer. I guarantee it.
I'll be honest, mate, I've Isaac Hayden over Harry Winks.
Oh, yeah. I think he's better, but I'm just saying it right now. 100% there will be one rumour this summer, Isaac Hayden to Everton. I guarantee it. It's destined, or Paul Dummett, or there'll be someone from that club where we just look and go...
Lascelles or someone.
We just say, come again, and it's just... Hayden, I'd rather a dead
You've got to say, Inky, you've made this show, mate.
You have. You've done a better job than us, mate.
Yeah, honestly, you need to come on the show and be the host, mate. Honestly.
Especially when us two are probably dying of heat stroke right now. Because
we're dying of heat stroke and dying of Everton-induced depression.
And that's the worst out of the two. That's the worst part.
Yeah, it is, really is. But, yeah, I think, for me, the real hope for this summer lies in the fact that the Deadwood could go. If we get a large amount of the Deadwood out, like if Gomez does go, maybe Delph, if he's so desperate to be terminated.
Delph's gone. The day we've all been waiting for has finally come here. Fabian Delph is gone. And do you know what's going to happen? This is going to be the one video that Fabian Delph watches in it, and it's just going to be me killing him online, and then I'm going to get accused of racism or something like that because I don't like Fabian Delph. It's just Everton are going to push their pain onto the fans now.
You what?
Everton are going to push the pain from the club onto us now. Bloody hell, my microphone looks like it's about to...
Yeah, it's one of those. It's just Everton, innit? It's just like, we're just gonna wait and see what happens. But
it's that video, isn't it?
It's terrible, but it's Everton.
It is just that video. It's just that video. And you know what? You know what's going to happen, actually? This is the year we're going to win the league. Because we're going, 15th. That's it. We're done. It is just Everton, though, isn't it? We'll finish 4th the 1 year we don't expect something.
I don't expect anything. I expect the fucking... I expect...
Exactly. We don't expect anything. We expect shit. And that's the 1 year this club's going to do something. Then next year we'll go, oh my God, we finished 5th. This is the Rafa Revolution, 12th. Rafa gets sacked. We bring Marco Silva back because he had a good season at Fulham.
Yeah.
I guarantee it.
This is the thing. You say you couldn't write it, but you could. It's like a script. It's like a film script.
I'm telling you, everyone in the chat right now, everyone in the chat right now, put £2.50 on Everton to win the league next season. And then I will take 10% of all your winnings because it'll happen. It is just Everton. Iwobi will manage to top score. Calvert-Lewin will end up scoring 6 bicycle kicks, all because we all said we're going to finish 15th. It's just destiny. It is.
Like you say, you will win the league and then get relegated the year after.
You know what? I'll take it. I'll take that. At least we'll have won. Listen, what do you mean? Back-to-back trophies, win the Premier League, then we'll win the playoffs in the Championship.
Oh, wow. 2 trophies in 3 years. Giddy stuff. But yeah, we'll leave it at that anyway, guys. But plenty to get through, like you say. We've got through like almost the entire squad in terms of potential outgoings there and a couple of incomings as well. But we'll have to wait and see. It's been a very busy day, but let us know your opinions on everything. Of course, get involved on Twitter as well, at the Toffee Blues. Our at Everton newsfeed account is still down as we speak, but hopefully that'll be back up and running soon enough. But yeah, get involved, drop us some comments, give us a like and subscribe for more content. We'll be back very soon with no doubt more silly season rumours and potential announcements, hopefully. But yeah, get involved, subscribe for more content and ring the bell. And until next time, guys, thank you for watching on the Toffee Blues.